Hey horror fans, once again it's the Horror Miser Mighty G, and today we will continue my Saw series where we go over as we now head up to Saw 6. Because if it's Halloween, it must be Saw. Now, basically, Saw 6 was a 2009 American horror film. It was directed by Kevin Grugent. He did this one with a screenplay by Patrick Melton and Marcus Dunstan. Once again, this is the sixth installment of the Saw franchise. It once again stars Tobin Bell as John Kramer Jigsaw, along with Constance Mandalore, Betty Russell, and Shawnee Smith. Yep, Shawnee Smith, she's back once again. She did not star in Saw 5. We did not see her in Saw 5, but she's back in Saw 6. Once again, this was produced by Twisted Pictures and distributed by Lionsgate Films. Basically, this continues focus on Jigsaw and his progression of successors because Jigsaw is dead. Most mainly Mark Hoffman. Basically, Hoffman now is setting a series of traps for a insurance executive by the name of William Easton and his employees. Meanwhile, the FBI is still trying to track the trail Peter Stram, who was suspected of being the Jigsaw killer. Now, of course, unfortunately, he is now dead. No thanks to Hoffman. He got crushed to death in Saw 5, but because of the evidence planted by Hoffman, people believe that he was the accomplice of Jigsaw. But because of their investigation under Stram, Hoffman has to make sure that his identity remains a secret, and basically that's what Saw 6 is about. We have the insurance guy, he's being tested, and the FBI still continuing their investigation of Peter Stram, and Hoffman trying to make sure he's not exposed. Now, Gertrude, he served as the editor of the previous Saw films, and this is his directorial debut. Melton and Dustin, they were writers of Saw 4 and 5. They returned to write the screenplay. And Charlie Carlson, who served the score on all the previous Saw films, he composed the Saw as well. You gotta love that score. I think it's one that makes Saw such a great show of a great horror movie is because of that great score that he wrote. I love that theme song. It's a great one. Once again, this film was released right around Halloween because that's basically what they do with these movies. It was placed in second. It only made 14 million its opening weekend, and it came in the second place to Paranormal Activity, and this only went on to make 68 million worldwide, making it the lowest grossing Saw to date, but because of the small budget it had, it still made a lot of money. Reviews are kind of mixed in this one. A lot of people didn't like the acting, but a lot of people did like Gertrude's directorial style. For myself, I actually like Saw 6. To me, it kind of brought back what Saw was from Saw 1 and 2. I thought there were a lot of great traps in this one, and I liked the lessons that Jigsaw is trying to teach Ethan in this one, and you'll see. So I really did enjoy this one. So the movie starts, we have two predatory lenders. They're on either side of the room, split by a caged-in scale, wearing head harnesses with screws poisoned to their temples. Basically, it's a very simple trap. The one who sets more flesh weight upon their tray will win. I believe their names are Eddie and Simone. And once they wake up in the trap that they're in, this is what Jigsaw tells them. Hello, I want to play a game. The devices on your heads are symbolic to the shackles you place upon others. You recklessly loan people money, knowing that their financial limitations, counting on repossessing more than they could ever pay back. You are predators, but today you will become the prey, and it is your own pound of flesh I demand. The scale before you is of your own path to freedom. However, only one of you may pass my test, and the toll is the ultimate sacrifice, the sacrifice of flesh. Before you are instruments to exact this flesh. Move with haste now, for when the 60-second timer hits 0, the one who's given the most pound of flesh will release their bindings, while the gears upon your owner's head will engage, piercing their skull. Who will offer the most flesh in order to survive? The choice is yours. Live or die. So there's these two people are really in a bind. They have devices on their head, and I think every 10, 16 seconds or so, the drill screws in more into their heads until it cracks their skull and killing them. Eddie, being that he weighs more, starts cutting away fat from his torso, which allows him to gain the upper hand. But Simone decides that the only way I'm going to survive is I got to give up more, so she chops her arm off in a very gruesome way and drops it in the bucket, making her the winner, and Eddie is killed when the timer expires. We find out that this was something that happened prior to the real-time events because we see Detective Lieutenant Mark Hoffman is called in to the scene by Dan Erickson from the last one, and they go over the crime scene, and we know that somebody's still playing the jigsaw game. When Hoffman's at the scene, he's surprised by Lindsay Perez, who we thought died in the Saw 4, but she's alive and well, and that really starts to get on. It really gets to start on Hoffman's nerves. Um, they learn from Adam Heffler that the coroner who performed all the autopsies on this case, they found a fingerprint. They found Strand's fingerprint on it. But basically, they find out that the knife was used to cut the jigsaw pieces from Eddie's flesh was only used once before. That was Seth Baxter. The agents find the Baxter audio tape to prove Strand's involvement. So basically, they believe that the case is closed. Everything points to Strand. Strand was the jigsaw apprentice, and everyone believes that's basically what. Basically, they believe that the case is closed. They also go to the hospital with Simone. Uh, there, Hoffman is met by a reporter by Pamela Jenkins, who claims to have found something in the meatpacking plant. Pretty interesting. We will find out more about Pamela Jenkins later. They meet with the parking plant. They found something in the parking plant. He meets later with Jill Tucker at the clinic, and they think that he now controls the final aspects of the game. And Jill says, "No, this is not what John wanted. This he gives her, she gives him the stuff that we saw from the box from last year, and he gives her the all the information that John left her in his will." And Hoffman says that he controls all the aspects of the game now. And they contain photos of the people that's going to be tested. We see a flashback after that where we see Amanda's at that clinic, and we see that reveals that Kramer was the one that brought Amanda to jail. So he already knew her. Uh, Another flashback shows Jill going to deliver a package. Another flashback where Jill meets up with John at the meat packing facility prior to his death, where he gave her the box's keys and a promise that she will be protected when the games end. Next, we finally meet William Easton. He's an insurance executive for Umbrella Health, and he meets with Debbie, the company's attorney, about Hank Abbott, a man who succumbed to heart disease after his coverage request was denied due to the application discrepancy. Basically, Hoffman abducts Easton from his office and brings him to an abandoned zoo. And this is where he has to perform a series of tests based upon his own application, whatever type of thing that he does. There's some type of group that he has, and they obviously try their best to make what's best for the company. And so Jigsaw is going to test him with his own theory. And the first one, he and his janitor, Hank, they awake with vices strapped to tighten their torsos each time when they breathe into an oxygen mask strapped in their faces. Kramer appears as himself in the videotape and informed Easton that he has 1 hour to complete 4 tests and remove the bombs that are strapped onto his limbs, or he'll lose his family. Now, the first test, basically, when he goes into the room, Jigsaw tells him this on the video on the virtual column, and he says, "Hello, William. You're probably wondering when we would see each other again. Today is today. For years, your probability formula has decided the fate of others. The healthy have benefited while the potentially sick have been unjustly rejected. However, this formula does not take into account the human will to live. When faced with death, those who should live versus the will live are two entirely separate things. Today your policy will be put to the test. There are four straps around your limbs, and here are four tests you must complete. For if you don't, the straps on your arms and legs will detonate. Look closely. You have 60 minutes to complete your test and avoid this fate. Starting now, you are not alone in this game. For just as you have taken loved ones away from their families, if you do not reach the end before this hits zero, you'll never see your family again. Here's your first test. Your health and hereditary background puts you in the highest category of success. However, this thing cannot be said to your adversary. While only 52 years of age, this man has continued to smoke, even though he has a history of high blood pressure and heart disease. This demonstrates the very lack of appreciation for the blessing of his own life. Your game will focus on a simple element of air. Once the game begins, every time you take a breath, the clamps around your chest will close and crush your body. The only escape is for the other one's failure. So I asked you, when faced with death, who will survive? Live or die? And make your choice. So basically, William has bracelets around his arms and his ankles. And if he does not complete the test within 60 minutes, those will explode, killing him, meaning he will never see his family again. Hence, that's what Jigsaw does. So on his first test, he has to breathe in more air than the guy next to him, some janitor named Hank. And Hank has been a bad smoker all his life. So William has to be able to show that he is capable of being a healthy man. And unfortunately, that's what the first test he has to go through. Of course, being that the heavy smoker Hank is, he cannot, unable to hold his breath for long, and is killed by the vice. The vice crushes him, and that's the end of Hank. And onward to the next room for William. Now, while all this is going on, we also see a woman by the name of Tara and her son Brent from a cage below the observation room, and they're watching this, and we see that there's a tank of hydrochloric acid with a switch name marked live and die. We also see Pamela, the reporter. She awakes in another cage on the other side of the room. Um, so those two are right now in the room. We don't know what their purposes are yet. Also, Hoffman is called away by Erickson Perez, who found that the Baxter audio tape and are having it unscrambled for an off-site technician. They informed him that there were problems with found with Strand's fingerprints, and Erickson, he believes they revealed that they know their knowledge is. They basically believe that they don't think that Strand is the Jigsaw apprentice. And once they have that audio tape unscrubbed, they will know who the true apprentice is. That doesn't bode good for Hoffman, too. Now, William's second test. Basically, yeah. Now, for William's second test, we see William. He's standing on a platform, and there are two of his colleagues standing there. And this is what Jigsaw tells him. Hello, William. Standing on the platforms behind me are two of your colleagues. One, your file clerk, a young, healthy male with no willing relatives. The other, a middle-aged woman with a family history of diabetes. According to your policy, your secretary is older and weaker and therefore less worthy to survive. But you know the loss she will be with her family, while young Alan will disappear without a blip on the world's radar. Only one can exit this room, and the choice whom falls upon you. You must let go of the one to save the life of the other. As you can see, the choice is not so clear when you are face to face with the people whose blood you're staining with hands. Let the games begin. So basically, in this particular room, we have two people that are hanging up where they can actually be hanged, and it's up to Hank to make the decision whether or not he's going to let one live without the other, using his own whatchamacallit, where the young guy, he's healthy, he's fine, and he doesn't have a family. Well, the other one, she suffers from diabetes, but she does have a family. So based upon, Jigsaw says, based upon your own theories, you have to decide. It's not an easy choice when you see it right in front of you live and when instead of just looking on a paper. So William goes with his gut. He allows the other woman to live, and the other young guy he hangs to death. He hangs and gets strangled. So we got another one that's dead. So that's two dead. We got one guy that dead because he spoke too much. Another guy who's actually was healthy, but William felt sorry for the woman's family. The next test is pretty interesting as well. This next test, he's in a steam room, and basically he has to get through a series of a maze with the steam blowing in his face, where he'll probably be scorched to death. And once again, this is what Kramer tells him. Hello, William. You have seen the flaws of your policy, but what you have not seen is the extent some people go when faced with death. The lawyer from your firm has 90 seconds to cross this room with a device attached to her chest will discharge and pierce her brain. She will find that the journey across this room is filled with danger. In order for her to make it, you will need to be there for her, as it is you who ultimately holds the key to her survival. When faced with death, won't she have the skills to live? Let the games begin. So basically, he has the key to unhook the device that's strapped to her back, and unfortunately, if she doesn't get out of the maze in time, it will pierce her skull, killing her. And all she do is get to the keys in time. While she's going in through the trap, every time that she gets hit with the steam, and it causes her to lose time. Unfortunately, she doesn't make it in time, and the thing pierces her skull, and she dies. And that was the end of that test. The next test is even better. In the next room, there is a carousel where I believe that there are 6 people sitting around, and there is a shotgun that's up in the air, and I believe it's full with 2 rounds. No, I think it's 4 rounds because I believe there's 4 shells in a shotgun, and William has to put his hand into whatchamacallit while he suffers pain in order to choose out of the 4 people, he has to choose 2 out of the 4 people uh, in order to survive, while the other ones get pumped full of lead. Very interesting test. And of course, this is what John tells William. Hello, William. Before you are 6 of your most valuable associates, the ones that find errors in policies, their findings result in over 2/3 of all applications denied or prematurely terminated. Now you must apply your analysis to them, and will you be able to find their errors? 6 ride the carousel, but only 2 can get off. The decision which 2 survive falls upon you, but remember, the mounted gun will continue to fire until all 6 rounds are spent. If no decision is made on your part, all 6 will perish. The offer for 2 reprieves. You must press the buttons at once in the box before you. However, in doing so, you will have to give a sacrifice on your own. 2 can live, 4 can die. Your decisions symbolized by the blood on your hands. So basically, what Jigsaw is telling him is that because the way the gun is situated, in order to not kill all 6 people, he has to put his hand in a device that will cause him some pain. It'll lift the shotgun up, sparing at least 2, because there are 6 shells in there. Otherwise, or he could not give a damn and let all 6 people die. The 6 assistants are Aaron, Emily, Gina, Dave, Shelby, and Josh. They were all abducted by Mark Hoffman. Mark Hoffman, as we see later on, they're all abducted by Mark Hoffman. And William has to decide, will he let all 6 die? If he not, which 2 will get the reprieve? So, fortunately, Aaron is the first one to get shot. He saves Emily. Fortunately, Gina is next to go, and so is Dave. Shelby is saved, and unfortunately, Josh is not. So, out of those 6 people, only Emily and Shelby are saved. The other ones are shot and killed by a shotgun. I actually love that trap. It was pretty good trap that I thought the design was well. You got these 6 people sitting in their carousel. They can't get out. Their hands are tied behind their back, and only William can actually do the things necessary in order to get out of these traps. I mean, he actually literally had to put his hand into it, bleeding himself in order to raise the shotgun so he can kill the other 2 people. So that's that trap. And now the fun part begins as he gets to the last room. Oh, let's not forget about Hoffman. He knows if that once they unscrub that tape, he knows that the gig is up, and he's going to be found out that it was he who was the Jigsaw. He's the Jigsaw's apprentice. Once they unfortunately is unscrubbed and the voice is unscrambled, Hoffman attacks and kills everyone in the room and plants fingerprints using Sham's severed hand and lights the room on fire to destroy the evidence. That's basically what Stram does. He is now outed as the Jigsaw's apprentice, but he's still trying to cover his tracks. He returns to the observation room and he finds the letter which he gave to Amanda, which he used his knowledge in her role of Joe's miscarriage to blackmail her into killing Lynn Denton. So if we remember in Saw 3, we see that Amanda reads a letter that she thought was written by John, but as we see, it was written by Hoffman. So that's one of the twists that we see in this particular one as well. As we get to the main room, we find out that the woman Pamela is, first twist, William's sister. That's his sister. And Tara and Brent are Howard's family that we find out from the beginning of the movie that it was his father that died because of William's policy making. He was the one that did not give him the coverage. And unfortunately, their father died. So that's what we thought. Now, I'm pretty sure if you've seen this, everyone thought that that was his wife and his son, and that the woman was somebody else. No, nice twist right there. We all thought that maybe that was his wife and his son, but actually no, the woman was his sister. When we all thought that maybe she was somebody else, but no, that Pamela was his sister, and Tara and Brent are Howard's wife and son. We see Tara is informed by the videotape by John that she can either kill Easton or free him by using the switch, which unfortunately she's not able to do. But Brent, he was angry and he lifts the switch and a bed of needles swings down and ejects Easton's body with acid, killing him in a very, very, very gross way. I mean, you want to talk about some of the grossest things I've seen in movies today. Not a very pretty sight, but unfortunately, fantastic kill. Fantastic work right there. Then we get back to Hoffman. Basically, he's trying to get out of the way. He's trying to find a way to protect himself, but unfortunately, when she sees Jill knocks him out, which she's sewn with an envelope which contains his photo and leaves him with only 45 seconds. She puts the reverse bear trap on him. So slam! Puts the bear trap on him. Only gives him only 45 seconds and not 60 seconds in order to get out of the bear trap, and which contains his photo and leaves him only 45 seconds. And she leaves the room and says, "Game over." Bam. Hoffman unfortunately is able to break his hand and get out of the trap by putting it up to a window and hitting it to the door so that the trap doesn't spring all the way, and he basically rips his own jaw apart. And another very gruesome sight to get out of the bear trap. So Hoffman is still alive, but we also know that everyone will eventually find out that he is Jigsaw's apprentice. Now, just like with Saw 5, I like Saw 6 is because once again, John Kramer is using his own experiences as how life taught him that life is very precious when he tried to kill himself with cancer, and he actually, once he realized that he was alive and he didn't successfully kill himself, so he decided that I'm going to test people who are throwing away their lives, and hopefully they can change as well. And here he's using the same method that he used in Saw 5, more effectively in this one here with this guy Williams' bad approach to doing life insurance. We find later on that John met William earlier on, and they talked about his life insurance policies. And we also find out that he also denied John once he found out once he was diagnosed with cancer. So, like I said, I like Saw 6. I believe this is probably even better than 4 and 5, mainly because of the traps. And again, once again, we see Jigsaw doing what he does best, trying to prove a person that, hey, what you're doing is wrong. So now you have to face your choices in real life. It's a lot different when you're seeing it up live in person as opposed to just people on paper. So I thought it was a very effective way of trying to teach somebody a lesson. And of course, he died a very gruesome death. So, my horror fans, what did you think of Saw 6? Did you really think that this was the best Saw ever? Or you thought this was just another poor example of a franchise that's weighing on its last wings? Make your comments in the comment section below and let me know what you thought about Saw 6. Like I said, I thought this was better than Saw 4 and 5. Actually, better than Saw 3, 4, and 5. If I were to rank this, I'd probably put this, I guess, around third. Probably Saw 2 and Saw 1. That's probably how I would rank it. But once I rank the videos, you'll know for sure. So, like I said, leave your comments in your comment section below and tell me what you thought about Saw 6. Well, that's my Saw the review of Saw 6. As I will now get ready to, as we now head on closer to the last of the Saw movies, which will be Saw the Final Chapter or Saw 3D or whatever Saw you want to come up with. So we're getting close to the end, people. Like I said, I really enjoyed doing this series. Watching all these movies once again is one of the reasons why I love the Saw series. I don't know why they call it torture porn, though, because I don't see anyone having sex in here. I mean, they're being tortured, but they're not being tortured having sex. So I really don't know why they call it torture porn. Who knows? But anyway, I really hope you guys are enjoying this series. As like I said, I'll try to get Saw 6 up, hopefully maybe by midweek. That'll be the final movie before Jigsaw comes out next Friday. So that's my video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you do like this video, please give it a thumbs up for me. Also, if this is your first time here, please hit that subscriber button and ring that bell. That way you can become part of the horror experience with me, the Horror Miser Monty G. Also, all my social media links will be down in the description below as well. I am on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd as well. Once again, my name is Lamont Smith, better known as the Horror Miser Monty G. And always remember, horror rules.